Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're doing a little bit of a gem management video with your boy Stump. So for those of you guys that do not know, September was my final hurrah as a pay-to-play player over here on the global side of the game. We did go a bit crazy for the trio. We managed to pick up the 3 Super Sugos, we managed to get a Sabo, and we managed to get Whitebeard vs Shanks. So all in all, September went quite well. It was my birthday month, and like I said, it was my final hurrah on the global side of the game. Moving forward on global, I will be free-to-play friendly, I guess, or free-to-play only until a certain point, and we'll have a chat about that as we go through. But in today's video, we are going to be looking at all the banners that are coming up moving forward on the global side of the game, giving my thoughts and opinions on the banners, and letting you guys know, especially as free-to-play players, whether you guys should be summoning or not. So we are going to do a bit of a roadmap, have a look at all the banners. We are over here on our Discord. Big shout out to my Discord. Link will be in the description below, as well as the OPTC database. Link up to that will be in the description as well for the information provided on some of these units. But the next big Sugo Fest to come to global is this Sugo Fest right here, the Mugiwara 56. Now, this particular Sugo Fest introduced a new Sanji legend and released a bunch of rare recruits that were actually like the Germa suit rare recruits. So it was a 7.5% legend rate. The banner, if you're a big treasure map player, I guess you could throw some multis at it, but I definitely wouldn't go past multi 3 for most players. If you guys like to go crazy on treasure maps, I guess you could go further, but free-to-play players, straight up, big skippity skip. The Sanji itself, he's a good unit, but like I never use this unit on Japan. Like I never use this unit. But we'll quickly slide over to the database and we'll take a look at what he actually does. So this Sanji is a Psy Free Spirit fighter captain 5 times, 2 times cooldown at the start of the quest, and 1.3 HP at the start of the fight as well. And he'll activate his own special at the start of the fight too. His special boosts the chance of matching orbs for 4 turns, recovers 8 times recovery for 4 turns, amplifies the effect of orbs for fighters, Psy, and free spirits by 2 times for 4 turns, and if the crew has an orb amplification active, he becomes an attack booster for 4 turns. So obviously with 2 Sanjis, you get the orb boost, then you get the attack boost for 4 turns. It works really, really well for treasure map, and with the new treasure map structure that's on Japan, it does work really, really nicely. He does have a super type condition, which is basically any of the Straw Hats, and what he does is he increases the boost effect of attack up and orb amplification by 0.3. So if you have a 2 times attack boost, it becomes a 2.3. If you have a 3 times attack boost from Roger, it becomes a 3.3 times attack boost. So pretty cool, but I definitely wouldn't I wouldn't go crazy for this particular unit. He's okay, but like Psy already have a lot of options, and you do not need this unit whatsoever. So if we quickly slide back over to here, we slide back over to this Sugo Fest. The structure was okay, but look, it's a treasure map banner. Most free-to-play players, you should not be summoning on treasure map banners. If you guys want to have a look there, that's the available legends. You can pause the video if you want to have a look at these. I'm not going to go through them all just because there's so many different banners that we have to get through. And we will talk about them sort of moving forward as well. So after that Sanji banner, we can scroll down a little bit here. We have the treasure map Zoro, the new treasure map Mugiwara Zoro. And then we can scroll down here to the Kizuna Banner. So there should be a Kizuna Banner coming up. Here it goes. So this is the Kizuna Banner. Basically, it has the rest of the Straw Hats, Frankie, Robin, and Usopp on this banner. Again, I would highly recommend skipping this banner, especially for free-to-play players. Every time I say skip, by the way, I'll be skipping these banners, just letting you guys know that. First multi 30 gems, which is great. 2, 6, 13, 18 has a raid up character, and then multi 3, 9, and 12 has a tavern unit. Now, if you guys are gonna summon on this banner, this is where you stop. You get to that third multi, you get a tavern unit. I guess if you really want to, you can go to 5 and get a new unit if you like to spend money on the game. But for free-to-play players, like I said, I would highly recommend skipping this banner. And there is a Kazuna Banner that I will talk about summoning on. That's where you should be waiting to spend your gems. But for this banner, definitely give it a red-hot skip. It's definitely not worth your stones. We do have Brook. Brook is the Kazuna unit, the Mugiwara Brook. He's a fairly decent unit, so definitely make sure to farm him up. And this is another place where you guys can get some gems. You can also get the Germa skulls as well. 6+ Germa is coming as the next 6+ on global. So just be mindful of that as well. They are a very, very good unit. And definitely, if you have Germa, you do want to super evolve them. They are 400 coins in the shop right now. I guess you could pick them up if you really want to. They're definitely not a bad investment, but 400 coins is a lot. So there's the structure there, as you guys can see there for the Kazuna Fest. And again, even if you spend money on the game, like going past this step, Like, I've been there, but, like, going past that step is a little bit risky. So just be mindful of that as well. They're the available legends there. You can pause the video if you want to have a look at that. But let's move on down to the next big Sugo Fest. The next big Sugo Fest... what was this one? This was the top 100 Sugo Fest. We don't really care about this. If we get this on Global, the World Top 100 Sugo Fest, it was basically featuring all the characters that got in the World Top 100 in terms of the ratings. It was a pretty good banner if you're missing a lot of legends, but definitely skip this banner. Like, these legends here, like, these are the legends available, and they're all fairly old legends. Like, looking at this, Wano Law is amazing, Luffy Sanji's great, but everything else you'd rather just pick up on other banners. Like, they're not essential units. Wano Law and Luffy Sanji are probably the only two that I would say, like, that you'd really want. But, again, you want to skip them. Alright, next we come down to the Onigashima event where we have the free-to-play Denjiro. And we have this particular banner here for King and Queen. King and Queen finally get a legend in the game, and their legends are actually pretty cool. Now, this is the start of where, like, hybrid legends come into play. Bandai just start doing this thing where they like to release two legends that work very, very well together. So we have Queen, who's a Dex unit, King, who's a Quick unit, and they're both driven powerhouse captains. They work very, very well together. Very, very well. If we quickly have a look at the legend structure, there was 3 parts and on a 10% legend rate. Part 1 featured both King and Queen. So this is where actually I summons. Where Part 2 had Queen and then Part 3 had King, I'm pretty sure. There were a bunch of steps as well. If you guys do want to summon on this as a free-to-play player, I highly recommend skipping this particular banner as well. As good as King and Queen are, they are just hybrid captains. And because they are hybrid captains, you have a lot of other options to use. Queen being a Dex captain, you can use stuff like Super Type Law if you picked him up. You can use stuff like Zoro. They're driven powerhouse-based captains, so you can use stuff like Versa Kainu, you can use stuff like Mora, you can even use stuff like V3 Blackbeard if you really want to. So there are a lot of options. As for King, you have Super Type Kaido is a really good option as a hybrid captain. Any like quick-based captain like Super Type Luffy can work very, very well as well. But there was a super limited pool which had these particular characters on it here. If you guys want to have a look at these steps, like I said, head over to the Discord and you can have a look at this. Or pause the video if you want to, as these were the legends that were available on the banner. As you can see, there were a lot. So there was a bunch of steps as well. You had boosted legends. Part 2 had King, and Part 3 had Queen. In my opinion, the better legend out of the two was actually, or is, I should say, not was. I would say that King is definitely a better legend. Queen is definitely a better legend, but King is still very, very good as well. So we're going to quickly slide over to the database now, and let's take a look at what these characters actually do. Cool thing about these characters, actually, when you use their special, they actually, like, turn into their dino forms. So it's really cool that they had a little bit of a sprite change. And they did that with page 1 ulti as well, which is a really nice touch. I would recommend continuing that if you can, Bandai. Driven powerhouse captains, Dex typing for Queen. His captain ability will boost the attack of Dex-driven powerhouse characters by 5 times. Their HP by 1.2 makes Dex and Sight Orbs beneficial for Dex-driven powerhouse characters. And if you use his special in that turn, he deals 500 times his character's attack in Dex damage to all enemies at the end of the turn. And twice per adventure, if a crew member uses an ability that gives an orb amplification, he'll activate his special on the next turn. So really, really cool ability. And that's why King and Queen work so well together. One of them's an attack booster, one of them's an orb booster, and when you use them together, you can basically get their special over 3 turns, and it just works really, really nicely. Really, really cool. His special cuts enemies' HP by 20% of all of them, and reduces special cooldown of all characters by 1 turn, which is pretty nice. He boosts the attack of Dex-driven powerhouse characters by 2.5, and for 1 turn during that turn, if you score 3 perfects, he sets the chain boundary to 2.5, maxing it 35 times on the next turn. So he gives the perfect buff, gives an attack buff, and it works really, really nicely, because if you use an orb buff on the previous turn, you'll activate his special, get the attack buff, hit the 3 perfects, and then on the next turn, you get that chain lock. Now, you guys are probably guessing, well, what does King do? Well, King does basically the same thing, but he does an orb buff and a chain boost. So that way, with the specials and these 2 characters together, you, like, over 3 turns, you can have, like, an attack boost, you can have an orb boost, you can have a chain lock, you can have a chain boost, and with that, you just have all your damage ready to go, and you just fill the rest of the team out with, like, characters that can just get around the content. It works really, really nicely. He does have a super type condition, which just means that you just use an orb boost and you get his super typing. It's not exactly the greatest super typing, but it gives you a full board of Dex orbs, which he makes matching, as well as 75 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies. Be mindful, too, that these characters do 500 times their attack at the end of the turn too when you use their special, so they're very, very good at getting around resilience. So that's a big thing with these characters. His limit break, he has critical hit, He reduces all own special cooldown when rewinded as he's Sailor. He has Slot Bind. He makes Dex orbs beneficial for all characters as a Sailor as well. And he has Sailor Despair. So he's really good at getting around the special rollback debuff as well. Moving on to King now. King, like I said, he's basically the quick variant of Queen. His captain ability will boost the attack of quick-driven powerhouse by 5 times, HP 1.2, but he also makes quick and int orbs beneficial for those characters. So with the two of them, you basically have all colors except for strength orbs matching. Really, really nice combination of the two characters. Once you use his special, he does 500 times his attack is in quick damage to all enemies at the end of the turn, and twice per adventure as long as you use an attack buff, he triggers his special on the next turn. So like I said, King and Queen together, you use Queen's special, you get the attack buff. You use his King special, you get the orb buff, and then they auto-trigger the next turn, and then they auto-trigger the next turn after that. And just, like, from stage 3, they just clap so much content. And they give cooldowns as well, which is really, really nice. He has the same super type condition. He must be the captain, and you get an attack up. He makes all orbs into quick, and transforms quick characters into super quick. So, they parallel each other very, very nicely, and they are a very, very good combination. He reduces his own special cooldown when it's rewinded. He has critical hit, slot bind, and Sailor Despair. And he makes quick orbs beneficial. So as you can see, like, these two characters just parallel each other really, really nicely. And they do work very, very well when you put them together hand in hand. But as good as these characters are, I would highly recommend skipping these particular characters. As, again, they are hybrid legends. And you do want to sort of pick them up along the way on other banners. Because they do pop up on other banners. So if you're really a big Queen and King fan, then go for gold. They are very, very good legends. But as a free-to-play player, I would definitely highly recommend skipping them. When this content comes out, Kyorishiro, Denjiro, Hiyori, and Komurasaki do get treated as the same names, and they will trigger super typing of Odin as well, which is really, really nice. The next banner that we had on Japan was the support banner. The release of Sengoku, Sai Sengoku, finally came to Japan. So I'm not sure if we'll get this banner on global. Now, these support banners are actually pretty good value because they do come around. Like, not that frequently, I guess is the best way to put it. Multi 1 was 30 gems and you get a guaranteed support character. So for most players, even free-to-play players, I do recommend doing one summon on this. Like, 30 gems for a guaranteed support character and the chance to get some more along the way is really, really nice. Multi 2 is a guaranteed banner character. Multi 3 has nothing, and then Multi 4 has 1 gem. If you guys really love support characters, go for gold, throw a couple multis at it, but I would highly recommend just sort of stopping after the first multi, taking your 30 gem luck and just hopefully gaining a good character. There are a lot of good supports in the game, but they're not essential. They just make stuff easier, and I do love support characters, don't get me wrong. I do have every support on global, so when this particular banner comes to me, I will be completely skipping it because I already have Sengoku, but I don't even know if the banner will actually come out. But in saying that, we do really need a new support banner, as we haven't seen one in a little while. We do get the Ashura Doji content coming after that. Arena Ashura Doji is a very, very annoying arena. We do have Mihawk coming. That is our next arena. But after that, we do get Ashura Doji. He's really annoying because he's based around Rezuians and King and Queen. Again, I still don't recommend summoning for King and Queen. I do have some teams up on the channel already to get around that. So just be mindful of that too. And if you have Super Type Lore, you guys are going to be fine. The Metal Shop gets an update. Dex Kid, Smoker, Mihawk, Perona, Sober Mask. If you guys want to have a look at this, you guys can. This is pretty much the next Metal Shop. I don't think there's too many characters that are worth, like, picking up here, but, yeah. Metal Shop's always nice. Like I said, the first multi is the only multi I would do on the support banner, and then we can move on to the next banner, which is the Pirate Festival Sugo Fest Scopper Gaban. Now, Scopper Gaban finally gets some love in the game, and if you guys wanted Wiper vs Shanks, this is actually a pretty good time to pick him up. 30 gems is the first multi. If you guys love Pirate Rumble, maybe throw 30 gems at it and then call it a day. I would be saving your gems though, as Scopper, as good as he is in Rumble, isn't essential. But Rebecca Toy Soldier is on the banner, and this whole banner is based around Sai, which means that you have a very good chance of picking up something like Enel. You have a very good chance of picking up something like Wipe It vs Shanks. But again, free-to-play players, maybe throw the 30 gem multi at it if you want to. But again, I would highly recommend skipping this banner and saving your pennies for some of the later Sugo Fests. There is one in particular that you want to have as many gems as possible for. So, if you do really want to summon, throw 30 gems at it, call it a day, but do not do more than 30 gems. I would highly recommend skipping this banner as well. For myself, personally, I will probably throw 30 gems at it because I love this Scopper unit, and I do have the side team, like, ready to go. But that's just me, like, and if I don't get Scopper, I don't get Scopper. But throwing 30 gems at every, like, Pirate Rumble banner is a good way to sort of pick up some of these units. But just be mindful, he will be available on those tickets from events moving forward. So if you are completely free to play, I would highly recommend skipping this banner as well. This is the structure. If you guys want to have a look at that, those are the legends that are available. They are all Psy legends. But again, I would definitely skip Scopper. Moving on to the next banner, we have a treasure map banner. Treasure map, Kaido is after the Mugiwara treasure map, the Zoro Mugiwara. So this banner is a complete skip. Definitely do not summon on this banner, especially if you are free to play. If you love doing treasure map, like I said, and you want the boosters, go for it. This is the structure, but for all free to play players, including myself, I will be skipping this banner. Just be mindful that the Sanji and the treasure map Roku's Chopper, Luffy, and Nami, they will be available on every single treasure map banner moving forward, just like the Usopp, Frankie, and Robin will be available on every Kizuna banner moving forward. But I would highly recommend skipping that that banner there. The July Garbs Challenge will reset after that. And then we have the information on Kaido here. We're going to quickly scroll through that because that's not the point of this video. And then we move on to the next Kizuna banner. After the treasure map Kaido, we will get another Pirate Alliance Kizuna. Just be mindful that every Kizuna moving forward is a Pirate Alliance Kizuna. They don't all have super bosses, but they are all Alliance Sugo Fests. Kizunas, sorry. This banner actually debuted Legend Toki, Momo, and Hiyori. Now, this legend, as good as they are, I would highly recommend skipping this particular banner. Toki, absolutely incredible unit. The only reason I would say summon on this banner, if you want to, is if you are missing the boys, the fire boys right here, Ace Sabo. If you're missing Ace Sabo, maybe throw a couple multis at it. Kinemon did debut on this particular banner as well as a rare recruit, but I would definitely not go past the third multi here. If the third multi is the same on Global, where you get a guaranteed Tavern unit, that's as far as I would go. Definitely don't go further than that. The Tavern units are quite good, as you can see there. You do have the Mugiwara Robin, you have Ace Sabo, Toki, you have the Brook, who's amazing up in the corner here, as well as a new Kinemon. So if you really want to, go for it, but definitely do not go past multi 3. Highly recommend do not go past multi 3. For those of you guys that have a Sabo, definitely skip this banner. It's not worth your time. There is a better Kazuna Banner coming up down the line, and that's where I would be throwing my stones at. But let's take a quick look at what Toki actually does, and we can have a gander at what this particular character is capable of. So Toki is a free spirit / a strength character. Her captain ability reduces cooldown of specials by 1 turn at the start of the fight. Boost attack of all characters by 4.75, which is very, very high. Makes their HP 1.2, and strength is beneficial for all characters, and will recover 1 times the recovery at the end of the turn, every time you hit a perfect. So, pretty solid captain, 4.75 rainbow captain all the time, is a lot of consecutive damage. And for what this character can actually do, they are very unique in a particular way. They get cooldowns too, which is really, really nice. I totally forgot about their cooldowns. That's a very underrated ability, this one here. Or underappreciated ability, I probably should say. Getting 1 turn of cooldown, if you run 2, is 2 turns of cooldown. It makes speed farming a lot easier as well. When you use the special, you apply Toki State to 2 characters for 2 turns, which means that basically what that means is they are immune to all debuffs on that particular character. That includes Despair, Blind, Silence, Slot Blind, Paralysis, Special Rewind, Blow Away, Captain Swap, anything like that, you can actually get around with the Toki ability. After 2 turns has expired, you give those 2 characters a 3.5 times attack and a 3.5 times orb boost, which is nothing to scoff at. Absolutely monstrous amount of damage with those 2 units. And if you rely on stuff like Sugar, if you rely on stuff like back-ended damage, you can output Unga Bunga damage with this unit, especially in Kizuna, where you have like them rainbow against all types. It works so nicely. Their super typing, they must be captain, and another member of the crew must activate a special. They reduce their own cooldown by 5 turns, boost the color affinity of strength characters by 2 times, and turn strength characters into super strength. So not a bad super type, just to get their own special, to get that Toki ability back, or to get it like early is very, very powerful. They have Sailor Despair duration as their limit break, pinch healing, and no healing. They also boost the base attack of HP and recovery of all characters by 100 as a sailor, and reduces their own special cooldown by 2 turns when it's rewinded, as well as having 5 turns of special silence on themselves. So very, very good to be able to use their ability to get that Toki ability off, and just absolutely sort of decimate content when you actually can. It does work quite nicely, but in all honesty, I don't use the character that much on Japan. Like, I use them a lot for the Kizuna, and they're one of the best Kizuna characters going around, but I would highly recommend skipping this banner if you are free to play as well. So they're the boosted available legends. As you can see, it's a pretty nice legend listing there. They do have the Fire Tank Pirates, but this is where Sanji Pudding does drop off. So if you're missing like all 3 of the Kizuna legends there, I guess maybe throw 3 multis at it, but I wouldn't go further than that, because, like, I mean, King will be there too, and if you skip the King banner, you have 4 legends available for you. So, there is that if you want to, but again, no more than 3 multis, and if you're free to play, definitely skip this banner. Let's move on down. Down now. The next banner to release is the One Piece 1000 log banner. So, the 1000 log banner is when the Straw Hat Legend released. Now, the Straw Hats is one of my favorite legends in the entire game. It did have 7.5% legend rate, but this banner is a big old skipperoonie. Definitely do not summon on this banner. As much as I love the Straw Hat Legend, they do fall into the regular pool. All of these legends do, besides Toki, because they are a Kizuna legend. You can pick all these guys up with tickets, including the Straw Hats. I actually picked them up on my 5 million ticket on the next treasure map as well. I did get them fairly early in Japan, so I wasn't all that bummed. But they only have a 6-star art. They don't have a 5-star art, and they are a little bit harder to pull than most other legends. There is a part 1 and part 2 that both start and end at the same time. The first multi's 30 gems, and then look at these steps. Like, this is terrible. Like, this is a woeful structure. 2 to 24 is a last poster guaranteed to be either a rate boosted unit or a legend. Like, why? Just why? It's absolute dookie. Definitely skip this banner. Like, this banner is not fun. And if you are free to play, this is an easy skip. Multi 3 up to 23 is a guaranteed to be a legend. There's a limited pool step as well. And then 25th multi was the guaranteed Straw Hats. Better than 30. So for you like Omega Whales out there, like 25 multis is way better than 30. There are Chopper Man missions for the new Buggy event that does come out. And then this here is your legend pool. That was the part 1. That was part 2. Again, like all these legends, like definitely skip this banner. Like this banner is an easy skip. Easy skip. Before we continue, though, let's take a quick look at what the Straw Hat Legend actually does. Now, this legend, as I mentioned, is one of my favorite legends in the entire game. Their art is probably my favorite art in the entire game, and their ink effect is easily my favorite as well. They are a fighter free spirit Psy unit, so, like, these guys completely replace that Germa Sanji that came out, in my opinion. And every day of the week, I would rather run this unit over that Germa Sanji. They boost the attack of themselves by 5 times, and all other characters by 4 times. They boost HP by 1.2, and if HP is above 99% at the start of the turn, this character's normal attacks will be super effective against all types. Now, lots of people say that's a big hindrance, but for myself, it's really not a hindrance at all. You can easily get this. Like, easily get this. Especially with Shirohoshi Mancherry, super easy to get it. They make Strength Dex and Quick... They basically make all colored orbs matching for 1 turn with their special. They boost the attack of all characters by 2.25 for 1 turn, and boost the color affinity of all characters by 1.75. So as a captain, they can do a lot of damage. They reduced... a selected debuff by 5 turns, delay enemies by 1 turn, reduce damage by 70% and change block orbs into matching slots. They recover 4,343 HP and reduce enemies' increased defense and damage reduction by 5 turns. So this character does a lot, but their big downfall is the fact that they are all of the Straw Hats. So you lose 10 highly represented characters in the game, which kind of sucks. They must be the captain and get an attack up to get their super typing. They do a bunch of damage and give special recharge by 1 turn. So fairly good special type. Fairly good unit, but again, I definitely wouldn't summon for them. They have crit, they have hunger, and they have ship blind, some very good limit breaks. They make side orbs beneficial for all characters and give 100 base stats to all characters for attack, HP, and recovery. So very good legend, but again, definitely a big skipperoonie. Definitely no reason to summon for this particular legend, as you can just pick them up on a ticket in the future. Let's move on to the next banner now, because this video is actually going a lot longer than I did expect. So, the next legend to release over on the Japanese side of the game was the release of Vivi and Raiju. Now, these 2 particular legends were really cool, or are really cool, I should say, and they did bring in a new mechanic with poison slots. But again, big skipperoonie on this banner, guys. Definitely do not throw multis at this banner, because these 2 legends do pop up on the next couple banners moving forward as well. And that's why, like, all of these banners are, like, big skips, because all these units pop up on all of the banners moving forward, except for the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats are a bit of a tricky one, and obviously Toki. But Toki's on every Kizuna Banner moving forward as well. Multi 1 is absolutely nothing as well. Like, this is like kind of stupid. To be honest, with like Multi 1 not having anything moving forward. Like, hopefully on global they make that 30 gems, but look, it is what it is. There's a bunch of tavern characters there, and this wasn't a really good information for this banner. It is a 10% legend rate. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. I'm pretty sure that Vivi was on Part 2 and then Reiju was on Part 3. Yeah, no, so Reiju's Part 2 and Vivi is Part 3. There's the steps there if you guys want to have a look at that there for their particular banner. But yeah, these units, as good as they are, I would definitely skip this particular banner as well. Let's quickly slide over to the database now, and we'll have a look at what these units actually do. So, let's take a look at Reiju, the first legend. So, she's a cerebral powerhouse in character. She is a attack boost for those 3 types and color. 5 times and HP 1.2. If the crew member uses a special that inflicts poison, strong poison, or toxic, it will inflict that enemy with the poison pink, or something called Reiju poison. If the crew is inflicted with poison, strong poison, toxic, will activate her special in the following turns. As soon as you get poisoned, she activates her special in the next turn. Her special boosts the attack of int, cerebral, and powerhouse characters by 2.25 for 3 turns, removes paralysis and poison completely. If enemy is inflicted with poison, strong poison, toxic, or poison pink, she does a HP cut of 30% and removes enemy's poison completely, and otherwise inflicts the enemy with the poison pink. So, the poison pink does 20% of the enemy's current HP at end of turn damage, and recovers 20% of crew's max HP at the end of the turn. Poison pink will derive the normal poison and fulfills the poison status, and is affected by the poison debuff immunity. So, I don't think she gets around poison immunity, so that is something to be mindful of. So if the enemy's immune to poison, you can't apply the Reiju poison. But look, it is what it is. I wasn't sure about that, so that's actually good qualification. It is affected by the poison debuff immunity. So unfortunately, Reiju poison doesn't get through poison immunity. I thought it did, but apparently it doesn't. She must be captain to get her super typing. You need 6 powerhouse or cerebral characters, which is very easy to do. And a super typing gives a 2 times orb boost to those characters. So very similar to super type Luffy. She becomes an attack booster and an orb booster for her team. She has slot binds. She has pinch healing, as well as what else does she have? Slot binds. Okay, she has slot barrier. That really annoying. Slot barrier is one of the worst limit breaks. It's so dumb. She gives 75 base stats to cerebral and powerhouse characters as a sailor, and makes Psi Orbs beneficial for all characters. Moving on to Vivi now. Vivi, out of the 2, in my opinion, is way better. She's just way more viable as a sub, and she has just better classes. Strength, Free Spirit, Cerebral. She's a 5 times captain for those 3, and she's a 1.2 times HP boost, as well as removing Special Seal by 10 turns. Absolutely amazing utility. Very, very good legend as a captain. She basically just replaces the Super type Luffy, which is cool. Which is kind of cool. In a way, she replaces Luffy, I guess. I'm running this unit over Luffy every day of the week. She makes Quick Orbs beneficial to all characters, and she gives base stats to Free Spirit and Cerebrals as a sailor. She amplifies the effects of Orbs for Cerebral, Free Spirit characters by 2.25, as well as Strength for 3 turns. Changes all Orbs, including block, to matching, and locks them for 1 turn. And if you already have an Orb boost, she increases that Orb buff by 0.25, and will extend it by 2 turns. So if you put her alongside like something like Verse Ace, you have like a 2.75 times Orb boost, and then you extend it to 4 turns. If you use something like Toki, you can make it a 3.75 times Orb boost, extend that for 3 turns. It's wild what this chick can do. It's absolutely monstrous. Her super typing is the same as Luffy's. As long as you have 6 cerebral or free spirit characters, she's at 2 times attack boost as well. So she's your attack booster, and she's your Orb booster. Very, very good unit, and I would, like, if you are looking at, like, one of these units, definitely pick up Vivi. I do think Vivi is the best of the 2. She has slot barrier, she has slot pinch healing, and she has slot bind, just like Reiju as well. So, she is a very, very strong unit, but again, this banner is a big old skipperoonie. If you are free to play, skip this particular banner. 10% legend rates, do not get sucked into this banner. The ink effect of Boa actually comes with this banner as well, but definitely skip. Definitely skip, skip. The next banner should be a treasure map banner. Okay, there's the information there, actually. If you guys want to have a look at the information, come over to the Discord. Like I said, all the information is there. And then we can go down to the next banner, which was, well, we had Arena Caesar, which was with the release of Vivi and Raiju. And then we move down to this banner here, which is the Kazaru Banner. So, Pirate Rumble Kazaru makes his debut. V2 Kazaru finally gets some representation in the game. And this particular unit is pretty good. But it's a Pirate Rumble banner, and they're a dex-based unit. Like, they were just put in the game to counter quick. I definitely would skip this banner. This banner's an easy skip. Kazaru, as good as Kazaru is, just doesn't see play. The only time I used Kazaru was in the Super Boss Kazuna. And that's basically it. And you can just run a friend captain of him to, like, satisfy that team condition anyway. So, just be mindful of that. I would highly recommend skipping this banner. Again, if you really want to, maybe throw 30 gems at it, because it is a Pirate Rumble banner. And just test your luck for some of these units. But I wouldn't go crazy on them too much. So, there's not even like 10% rates on this banner. The Pirate Realm banners are pretty dookie when it comes to that sort of structure. So just be really mindful of that. But let's take a quick look at what Kazaru does for you guys so you can get an understanding of like why you should skip this character. Shooter, Free Spirit, Dex, pretty good classes besides like Dex. He's the final like character of the trio for the Pirate Rumble, like Aokiji, what's his name? Sakazuki, and then obviously Kazaru. His captain reduces specials by 2 turns at the start of the fight, boosts strength, dex, and quick characters by 4.5, HP by 1.3, and then if you use his special, he's a 5 times captain. The downside to this guy is he doesn't have any utility, he's just raw damage, and you just have to bring subs to try and get around that, and he's pretty hard to use in regular content. He's sort of built as a super sub. He has silence removal on himself and special cooldown removal by 10 turns, so he's like Rare Recruit King in a Legend. He has two stage special. I'm just going to read stage 2. Basically, stage 1's on an 8-turn cooldown, and it does the same thing, just for, like, less turns. His stage 2, he reduces all characters' specials by 1 turn, reduces silence by 10 turns, color affinity for strength, dex, and quick characters by 2 times, and adds 1.4 to the chain. So, he is the biggest chain boost in the entire game, like, hands down. Besides, like, Yamato, I guess, but, like, he gives the highest in terms of just, like, raw chain multiplier buff. Plus he can give cooldowns, plus he can give special blind removal. So he's actually pretty good. He has slot blinds, silence, Sailor Despair, and barrier pen. So again, as good as this guy is as a sub, definitely don't summon for him. Again, throw 30 gems at it, but if you are like free to play, I would highly recommend skipping this particular banner. Definitely skip it, especially if you're free to play. If it was me, like I might throw 30 gems at it, but like that's as far as I'll go with the actual banner itself. Let's move on down to the next banner, which should be there it is, the Treasure Map banner. This banner is a big skipperoonie. It does come with 3 new rare recruits that are Makino, Tashigi, and Hina. Like, as good as these guys are, like, you do get the Vivi and the Perona back. They have very good supports, but I would highly recommend skipping this banner. If you're going to summon on any Treasure Map banner, though, this is the one to summon on. But again, I wouldn't go past, like, where's this structure here? I wouldn't go past, like, the 3rd multi, I think it is. Where's the structure? Okay, so the structure's not here. Wherever the banner unit is, like, that's as far as I would go, and I would just sort of call it a day there. The next banner is a Kizuna Banner for Kizuna Bon Clay against Pirate Alliance Kizuna against what's his name? Ivankov. But again, skip this banner as well. Like, this Bon Clay is not used anywhere else besides this Kizuna, and you can definitely get away with just using a friend captain for him. That's the structure there if you want to have a look at it, but definitely skip this Kizuna banner. He's not worth your time. Like, I got him on Japan, and, like, I haven't used him since. Like, to be real, I have not even touched him since. The next banner that is coming, did I just scroll past it, is, where is it? Nope. The next banner that should be coming is another, Pirate Rumble banner that does include the, release of Legend Kuma. So Legend Kuma banner isn't actually here, but I can tell you guys straight away, skip this particular banner. Like, there is no reason to summon for Kuma. Kuma, he just straight up dookie. Like, he's not good at all. Like, even in Rumble, he's not even good. He's a powerhouse shooter strength character. He reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight. Attack for strength characters by 5 turns, and if you hit until you hit a perfect 4.5 times. Otherwise, he has HP 1.5, and then he does the 100 times damage received in typeless damage to all enemies. So very similar to Halloween Lore. He just does that end of turn damage, and he's immune to blow away. So he's kind of good in terms of immune to blow away, but that's pretty much all he's good for. He deals typeless damage to all enemies by equal to 50 times his attack before before the special is activated. So if the max HP is above 60,000, he will do color affinity by 2.5, 2.2 up 5 otherwise. He maxes out at like 10 million AoE damage, which is just dookie nowadays. It's not good at all. Definitely skip this particular unit. I wouldn't even throw 30 gems at his banner. Like, to be honest, like, I would not, like, even if you're a huge Kuma fan, like, this particular character is just dookie, and I'm so upset that they did our boy Kuma, like, so bad for, like, no representation in the game. So, big old skipperoonie for Kuma. And it's a bit unfortunate, but look, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we sort of just have to take it with a cup of tea. Alright, so my Discord has kind of left out one other Sugo Fest that comes out after the Kuma Sugo Fest, or it comes out really pretty much the same time as the Kuma Sugo Fest, and that is actually the Lucci Sugo Fest. So Rob Lucci, the Dex Powerhouse Fighter Lucci, comes out. I don't have the information on our Discord. For some reason, it just sort of got glanced over. All of the Yamato stuff sort of overshadowed that. But again, I highly recommend skipping this banner. As good as Lucci is, you really just want to, like, you don't need him. Like, you don't need him at all. Especially if you have something like Queen, especially if you use something like Law. You can always just hybrid up Lucci with those characters, and you will be absolutely hunky-dory. Lucci, though, we will talk about him quickly. He is a Powerhouse Fighter Dex character. His Captain ability boosts Dex Powerhouse Fighter characters by 5 times, HP by 1.5, so massive HP boost. Boosts the chances of getting matching orbs for Dex Powerhouse Fighter characters, and recovers 0.5 of the character's recovery at the end of turn for every perfect you hit. So, a lot of damage, a lot of HP, a lot of healing, which is really, really nice. The downside is he's a fighter captain, and fighters, honestly, on both versions of the game, are pretty much, like, the weakest in terms of, like, their, like, sub potential and stuff like that. Dex is probably the weakest color as well, but Powerhouse are very strong, so there's might be mindful of that. His special removes enemies' increased defense buff completely, so very similar to Vivi Rebecca, just completely removes the defense buff. Deals 100 times his attack and typeless damage to all enemies, and increases the base stat attack of Dex, Powerhouse, and Fighter characters by 1,000 for 1 turn, amplifying their effects by orb effects by 2.5 for 1 turn as well. If he's a captain and you use an orb boost, so basically whenever you just use this guy's special, he deals 75 times character's attack and typeless damage to all enemies that will ignore damage negating abilities and barriers. He increases the base boosted effects of orb amplification by plus 0.3 for that turn, and will transform all Dex characters into Super Dex. So he's a very, very, very good unit. He has a lot of very good things going for him. Slot bind, critical hit, enrage. He does 100 attack, base, HP, and recovery as well. So he's a very, very good unit. And but again, I would still highly recommend skipping him because, like, directly after this guy comes the big Sugo Fest. The one that I would highly recommend most people summon on, which is the Yamato Sugo Fest. So this was the leaks here that we had for Yamato. Yamato basically released with this sort of like what's it called? The V jump scans, and Yamato is a Super Sugo Fest. So the Super Sugo Fest starts on runs till October 10th, so it is still going actually at the moment, but this is it here. Now this is the big one. This is where I do think most people should summon. The release of Yamato page 1 ulti as well. They have a super switch, and both of these characters are absolutely phenomenal, like ridiculously strong characters. So I would highly recommend spending your gems here. The thing about Japan though is Japan had part 1, 2, and 3, and then later they got a part 4 for the 6+ of Yamato. So with the release of Yamato, it was a 15% red rate, which is awesome. There was a Super Sugo Fest, so you had the Onigashima trio on parts 2 and part 3. I think Luffy was on both, and then Law and Kid were on another. And it comes with 4 rare recruits who are all very, very good as well. Black Maria, Who's Who, Sasaki, and 3 rare recruits. The structure isn't the greatest structure in the entire world, but honestly, Yamato is worth 30 multis. She's up there. If you guys haven't seen my Japan tier list, both her and her 6+ are up there in, like, Roger's tier. They are very, very good. There are some super steps as well. If you guys want to check this out, like I said, like I keep saying, just head over to our Discord, and you guys will be able to see what legends are there as well. Just basically summon on the parts that you guys need the most for. So part 2 had Dex Law and Quick Luffy, where part 3 had Kid and Luffy, and then part 1, I'm pretty sure, just had Yamato and page 1 ulti. So the Super Sugo Fest is very, very good. Obviously, Super Sugo Fest are where most free-to-play players should be spending their gems, and this one right here, this is the big one. This is where I do recommend spending your gems, because after it, there is a Alliance, like, Blitz battle. It comes, like, a week later. So this is where you want to save your meats, and this is where you want to actually, like, start getting a lot of your runs done. And ideally, if you have the 3 Onigashima trio, or if you have Roger and Odin, you should probably summon on these parts here. If we quickly slide over to, that was the wrong tab. If we quickly slide over to the database once again, we can take a quick look at what these characters actually do. So Yamato in her 6-star form, very, very strong. She is a driven striker int character, so with the mask on. She boosts the attack of int-driven striker characters by 4.75, HP by 1.3, and reduces bind by 10 turns. Massive. This bind by 10 turns is incredibly powerful. It just completely removes it, unlike the despair, where it, like, if it gets inflicted to the captain, like, they won't get around it. So this is like, instead of like where if it's like despair and bind, like, you just automatically remove the bind. It just works so well. I think actually if you get despaired first, then it doesn't remove the bind. But if you get bind first, you are in good stead. Just sort of like Roger works with despair. It works really nicely. If an int-driven and striker character has a 1 orb, she's going to boost their attack by 5 times, which obviously with 1 orbs makes it even stronger. And if your HP is 50% or below at the start of the turn, boost the chain multiplier by 1.2 and reduce damage by 20%. Now this 1.2, that stacks into other chain multipliers as well. So if you get a chain buff mechanic, it then multiplies in, and you can actually enhance this with that 0.25 chain multiplier that something like Vivi Becca V2 can do, or Jumanji can do. So this is ridiculously strong if you're below 50%, and getting below 50% is really not that hard to do. You also have access to a character called Sugo, which makes this even like more bonkers damage, and with Driven being so damn strong, this just works so well. She can't be blown away, and she gives base attack of 100 to all characters. Her special cuts the HP of each enemy by 20%, inflicts all enemies with increased damage taken for 1.75, makes perfects easier to hit for 1 turn, and adds 1.1 to the chain multiplier for 1 turn, as well as changing block and bat and matching orbs into Wano slots. So, orb manipulation, chain boost, increased damage like Kaido, cutting HP, like, she does the work. She's such a strong unit, and I would definitely spend your gems here. Very good. She must be the captain, and you must get a chain addition. She locks the orbs for 1 turn and boosts the chain multiplier by 1.25, transforms all characters into super in. So a very good super typing, works in her own kit, and she does have last tap as well. Her last tap, basically what it does is, if we can actually find it here, where is it? We have her last tap information. Her last tap information isn't actually here, is it? No, so last tap level 5, basically what it does is it doubles the chain multiplier on the final turn. So when she hits that with that final shot, she basically turns, say you're on a 6 times multiplier, she turns that into a 12 multiplier. This last tap ability is incredibly broken. She's a very good unit, and I would highly recommend spending your gems on this particular banner. Mainly because it's a Super Sugo Fest, but also because it comes with this particular character right here. Page 1 ulti are insanely busted. They are incredibly strong for the driven powerhouse classes. They are a quick and a dex typing, so very similar to Ace Sabo. Like, they're trying to help quick and dex, and it's just not helping them, but like, it is what it is. So their captain ability, their captain boosts their attack of powerhouse and driven by 4.5 with a matching orb. 4 times otherwise, makes recovery and tandem orbs matching, and if there is a powerful enemy, reduces damage received by 20%. So this is, I'm pretty sure this is, what's his name's? I'm pretty sure that's the captain ability for page 1, and then ultis is the 4.25, and if there is a powerful enemy, so ultis is the 4.5 with a matching orb, and then 4 times otherwise, where page 1 is just a flat 4.25 all the time. When they're in their dual form, they boost powerhouse and driven characters by 5 times with a beneficial orb, 4.75 otherwise, and makes dex, quick, recovery, and tandem orbs matching, so a lot of matching orbs, and then does 500 times the character's attack as in end of turn damage to all enemies, and if there's a powerful enemy, reduces damage received by 20%. So this powerful enemy thing basically means anything that has that little, like, crossbones, anything over 10 million HP usually has this, and it's very easy to get with the amount of, like, scaling the game has. Their Sailor makes recovery and tandem orbs matching for driven powerhouse depending on who you are. As their dual form, they give both, obviously. Their base swap reduces paralysis on themselves and changes their own orb into a matching orb, and sets the chain boundary to 1.6, maxing at 35 times. So very similar to Wano Law, this switch basically just gives you that, and it works really well with Yamato. It just basically gives you an extra points, like, what? Starts the chain boundaries, so it gives you an extra 0.3 to the chain boundary, which is just incredibly good. As their super swap, after 6 turns, reduces paralysis completely on themselves, changes own orb into a matching orb, and sets the chain boundary to 2.5 and 35 times for 2 turns. So very strong. You can use this to get around, like, chain locking, like, debuffs, like when you're moving into the next stage, and starting at 2.5 is exactly the same as utilizing Wano Law, so it's really strong. Their special deals 300 times the character's attack in typeless damage to all enemies, changes orbs into matching, removes target lock completely, and becomes page 1 ulti for 3 turns. If the captain is a powerhouse or driven, though, marks all enemies with 10 million or more max HP as a powerful enemy, and boosts attack against powerful enemies by 2.25 for 1 turn. It is not a debuff. It completely bypasses debuff protection. Busted. Going past debuff protection and getting a guaranteed 2.25. This is good everywhere. Like, as long as you can, like, have an enemy that has more than 10 million HP, which is very easy to do, it is incredibly good. Like, incredibly strong. On a 13-turn cooldown with Limit Break expansion, this character is absolutely insane. They work incredibly well with Yamato. They have very good Limit Break as well. And they are literally on the same banner. So, this is where you want to spend your stones. It's a very, very good Sugo Fest. And ideally, you do want to get your hands on Yamato for the Alliance Blitz battle that is coming up. Whether or not we do get part 4 at the same time is a bit of a different story, but about a week later, we actually got the, where is it? We actually got this image right here for 6+ Yamato. I think it might have been 2 weeks later, actually. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks later with the release of the One Piece episodes. We actually got a release that we were getting 6+ Jack, as well as the release of 6+ Yamato. But before that, we did have this Kazuna Banner here, and this particular banner is another banner that I would I would recommend summoning on. This banner here was when we got the Super Boss Olin, and there was 3 rare recruits. You see them in the front there: Chopper, Frankie, Chopper and Usopp, Frankie, and Robin. And all of these guys boosted your ticket gains. On this particular banner as well, if we can actually find the legends that were on here. As you can see, you have all 4 of the legends from the Kizuna legends. You also have Rob Lucci here as well. So this is why you should skip Rob Lucci as well. Because if you really want Rob Lucci, this is the time to summon for him. All of these exclusive legends you can't pick up on tickets are available on this particular banner. There's only 10 legends as well. Like, look at this, 10 legends. There's a high chance you're going to get one of these very powerful characters. Fire Tank Pirates are incredibly good. Sanji Pudding is incredibly good. Ace Sabo, one of the best characters in the game. And Toki is very, very nice to have as well. So if you did get a lot of luck on the Yamato banner, or if you are saving, this is the next Kizuna banner that I would highly recommend summoning for. I don't know if I would go too crazy on this banner, but like, there is a good chance that you are going to get some pretty good stuff. Remember, Kizuna banners don't have a boosted red rate, so like, you just want to be careful spending your stones, especially if you want to pick up 2 copies of Yamato. With Yamato 6+, she does get a complete side grade, and this is her banner right here. We get a free multi, starting from September 19, but she gets a complete side grade. Now, the skulls from Rayleigh are incredibly easy to attain, as they are only 100, but that doesn't mean they're going to be around forever. Now, this is the artwork for Yamato 6+. She's a very, very strong unit. Very, very good. She changes from a driven unit to a free spirit, and she turns into a Psy character. Like Psy needed more help, right? She basically has a very similar captain ability where she reduces cooldowns. She reduces cooldowns now by 1 turn at the start of the fight, but then she boosts free spirit, Psy, and striker characters by 4.75 and HP by 1.3. She's going to add 0.3 to the chain multiplier and reduces bind by 10 turns. She boosts the attack of Psy, free spirit, and striker characters by an additive of 0.05 after each perfect, up to 5 times. So this scaling is not that big, and her damage output is a little bit more consistent than something like the 6-star form. The 6-star probably has more damage output if you're using something like Sugar, but otherwise, this particular version of Yamato 6+ is actually going to give you more damage output. She can't be blown away. She has base attack for all characters by 100, and her special is very similar. She reduces the current HP of each enemy by 20%, inflicts all enemies with increased damage by 1.75, so the exact same as the 6-star. She makes perfects easier to hit as well, and adds 1.3 to the chain multiplier for 1 turn, and then changes block orbs into matching orbs and into Wano. So she adds the 1.3, she gets the 0.3, you've got 2 of them, so you start at like 1.9, and then you add the 1.3 on top of that. You're already starting at a 3.1 times chain boost, and then you get her super typing as well, which locks orbs and gives a 1.2 chain affinity, like chain multiplier. Absolutely insane. Like, it's absolutely crazy what this chick can do. The amount of damage she has is just wild. The utility of the 10 turns of bind is great. She has like, she just does so much, man. And you can partner up with Roger, and then you have bind and despair removal on your captains, and you don't even have to worry about a goddamn thing. She's incredibly good. I would try and pick up 2 copies and then just hang on to them if you can, so that way you don't have to bounce between the 2. And they're both very, very good in Rumble. That is another thing to note. Both Yamatos are great for the Int team and the Psy team, so if you have one of each, you can easily rock both those teams without having to chop and change all the time and muck up your defensive teams. So this particular banner, the page 1 ulti and the Yamato banner, it is up to you guys how you want to go about it in terms of summoning on part 1, 2, 3, or 4. That sort of depends on your box and how hard you want to go in the Alliance Blitz. But Just be mindful, Roger and Odin will be on part 4, where the Super Types Onigashima Trio will be on the other part. So it really depends on what you have, depending on what you want to go for. But this particular character is the one you want to summon for, especially if you are free to play. I cannot stress that enough. These are the characters you actually want to go for. The legends on this banner as well, for part 4, are absolutely wild. You have the Straw Hat legends here, which is really, really good. You have Roger and Odin. And you have a lot of very powerful legends like Queen, Marco, Vivi, Reiju. Like it's just a smorgasbord of very, very strong legends. Very, very good legends. Once we scroll down though, we can like go past all this Olin stuff, and then we get to the newest banner that is available on JP at the moment. Now this is again a hard skip, and most of you guys should have actually spent all your gems on the Yamato banner anyway. So for this particular banner, like I'm not even really going to talk about it too much. The Boa and the Perona, they're pretty meh. But just be mindful that this particular banner right here, this Yamato like situation, is basically where you want to be spending your gems next. And if you have anything left over, or if you have an abundance of gems, and you get really lucky and you manage to pick up Yamato, just remember that, wow, this is a lot of scrolling. Just remember that page 1 ulti aren't a super Sugo fest either. So whatever you kind of have left here, you can kind of spend on that Kazuna banner, try and pick up some of those Kazuna legends, and just make your way forward from there. But these characters are absolutely they're absolute monsters, and these are the ones that you want to get your hands on. But like I said, it all depends on what happens with the structure moving forward. A lot of people are going to ask me when this banner actually drops on global. I don't have an estimation for you guys. It may be New Year's, like they could do some shenanigans there. In my opinion, it's probably end of January, start of February. But look, I don't work for Bandai. I can't tell you guys for certain, but that's just running off the time schedule. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Bit of a roadmap to free-to-play gem spending with your boy Stump, as I am now free-to-play, like I said at the start of the video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lates!